I felt bad about confronting Roswell about his behavior yesterday when I was in the museum, and I wanted to go check on him. Okay.
Wait.
Yes. No,
Yes.
It took me a bit. That was one of those like run-on sentences where there's enough separate topics in it that you have to like unravel the onion of what you're looking at here.
Yeah, I was confused for a second because I was like, his behavior yesterday. Wait.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh wait, never mind.
Yeah.
That did happen yesterday. This is a different,
He confronted him, but he didn't confront him about his behavior yesterday. He confronted about his behavior that was yesterday.
Yes.
It wasn't in the museum yesterday. There's just it's too much recapping in a sentence. So like forcing in the museum and several other things, it makes the sentence just kind of keep going and going, and it creates kind of a mess where you're like, hang on a minute, okay.
Yeah.
You just say like, oh, I was feeling bad about our fight earlier, and I wanted to check in on Roswell. Roswell? He didn't look up from his book, but he looked troubled all the same, gesturing me closer. He took my advice. In real life. He didn't go to his bedroom. He went to the fucking conservatory.
How did we know he was in the conservatory, by the way?
I don't know. He said he was going to his bedroom, and then we went to the conservatory to find him instead.
That is the room where people are meant to read, I guess.
Yeah. Well, maybe he should say he's going to the conservatory. I hear you can read books there. I even made a joke about it 1 second ago and then pressed A and it cuts the conservatory. Losing my mind. He didn't look up from his book. He looked troubled all the same, gesturing me closer. I sat down next to him on the sofa, waiting for him to make the first move. With a sigh, he closed his book and looked off in the distance, looking wary. Are you okay?
Yeah. I owe you an apology. A proper one.
No, you don't. You owe Tyson an apology. Thank you, Dave.
Please apologize to Tyson. It's Tyson you owe an apology to.
Not that.
Invited all of you to a death game? On purpose? Roswell breathed in deep, sighing it out again before looking at me proper. Then, what for?
For assuming I could come back into your life as if nothing happened, like I never left.
You left? I mean, I know we mentioned that earlier, but like, this is the second time this has been brought up, and the second time that we have learned absolutely nothing about this period of time in which Roswell seemingly was not part of our lives.
It's become the main... It's interesting, like, you do... When you write about a friend group, you do want to gradually unpack what their dynamics are, and how they feel about each other, and why they feel that way, and what their history is. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's shocking we're this far in, and we're only discovering as of that episode that Roswell was gone for years, and that's like a defining element of their relationship.
It's weird because in the beginning, it's like, this is Roswell. We're basically family. He knows everything about me and gets me coffee, my favorite thing. He knew to meet me here first. We're so close. And then it's like, I guess he's actually been gone for a long time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, we've grown apart because we haven't seen each other forever. And like, oh. I gave Roswell a confused look and found myself scratching my head. You never left, though. We couldn't hang out, but Dad helped me send you letters, and occasionally send each other an email. Like, I just assumed you needed your dad's help to send letters. How old were you when he left? Also, he definitely left. That's what that means. I scratched my head, sighing out. I guess things changed a bit while you were gone, huh? We sat in silence for a few moments before Roswell spoke again.
You know, I think I'm gonna miss school.
Really? Why?
I'm good at school. I'm good at homework and academics. Being top of the class, though, The attention was nice.
Right.
Since when was anyone who
Aren't-
ever was at top of the class like get attention?
Just like
That's-
teacher attention or something.
Yeah, like if it's from other peers, like no one gives a shit about your grades, dude.
But like, aren't you going to school? Aren't you going to college? If you're Mr. Top of the Class guy, isn't that your plan? So
Maybe this is kind of what he means when he's like.
Do you mean you're going to miss school in 6 years when you have your doctorate? Like what?
I think what this
Masters
is getting
or
at
whatever.
is something we didn't really talk about earlier when he was like,
I've been wondering about how much time we all have left.
like, wasn't it like vaguely set up in one of the earlier routes that like,
You're talking about like how in the endings he keeps dying.
yeah, just like inexplicably dying of an unknown cause.
Yeah.
And it's like, is he
So maybe
gonna
he's
tell
not-
us that he can't go to college because he has cancer or something?
I think that's where they're going. Yeah, I think he has a terminal
Yeah.
illness and he knows it and he's not telling anyone, and that's why he dies in every ending. And why he's,
and that's
why
probably why
thinking
he's
about
also
death.
being mean to people and resentful and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But what about getting bullied?
Well, no, I'm not gonna miss that. If anything, that's something I'm probably a little thankful for. That feels weird to say. Feeling grateful I was used to Tyson, so I knew what to expect moving forward.
Roswell rubbed the bridge of his nose, grumbling.
I guess what I want to say is,
Is the quote-unquote all expenses paid trip the Make-A-Wish Foundation? Is he the cancer kid?
I wanna go on a
Is that-
month-long vacation with my friends where we all die, just like I will.
Oh no. It is really it is distressing if this is a thing he like. It actually if he's dying and then brings all his friends into a death game to cure himself or save himself, that's extremely Zero Escape.
Yeah, I was about to say this really is Zero Escape 4.
the specific reason that I'm jealous, you look at Tyson with such adoration, and for Dean, it's just
Some awe-filled expression I just can't believe. Wait, what? Dean, the guy we've been ignoring the whole time? The guy we keep saying gives us advances and makes us uncomfortable? The guy who's been such a pain in the ass the whole time that we left him outside staring at a greenhouse for 24 hours? What? What? Here's a writing tip. If you're gonna tell us that a character feels this way about characters, and that character is the main character of the story with which we view the story through, please have moments in the story where the player character goes, I look at Dean, and my mind is filled with all of this adoration and awe. I can't even think of how to express myself, so that when this happens, we aren't blindsided by it.
It's it sounds like an absolute nightmare trying to create like 7 competing routes or whatever. Like how do you account for how different the game feels every time you play a different version? That's why a lot of
Yes.
games that have routes tend like. Actually, I think it's more common in dating sims to have the game be more or less the same game, but each route is like accents on it and then eventually diverges into an ending. But I definitely see why a lot of visual novels that I've actually personally experienced tend to be like, oh, you're in this route. It's just that person's story. It's just a separate visual novel now, because then you can just account for what has been seen and not have to constantly think about all the different branches and whether or not people saw each of the phrases that set up the thing you want or so on. Because like we could be tonsils deep on Dean right now in this route, and that could be the whole vibe, but it's not. So it's just confusing.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's true. I think it's like, I mean, it all comes down, especially in this game, to just like a strange lack of clear communication and constantly being introduced to things that have already like that in the context of the game world are things that we're supposed to be not taking for granted. Like, it's not even stuff that we can take for granted because it's almost always completely fresh and new information that just like comes seemingly out of nowhere, even though all of the characters should ostensibly know some of this stuff. So it's a very jarring experience to read from that perspective as well.
My understanding is that I think the game's being rewritten for the sake of being a paid like release on consoles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to me because like there's definitely like an ongoing thing to be said about like the sort of like serialized like fanfiction.net style like storytelling where you create a story that is being seen by the public with each release, and then you're writing linearly, which incentivizes you to not go back and edit and change old things. Because
and introducing new concepts and stuff like that like comes with the territory as you're serializing over time.
Yeah.
Because people are like waiting to eat that up and discuss it. But it's interesting in that context too, because it means if there is a final release, like that's what the story's gonna live as forever.
Yeah, there's because I could totally see myself like coming up with an idea later in a story and then wanting to incorporate it, but then you'd have to like go back throughout the story and try to find the right parts to plant the seeds so it doesn't feel like it just comes up out of nowhere, which is a hard thing to do when you're releasing a visual novel like chapter by chapter when it's in the parts that are already out.
Yeah.
It just makes the whole thing benefit from a rewrite at that point, which is so kind of terrifying because they're monstrously long. Like at that point, do you just... I figure at that point you probably don't even like try to edit the existing game. You literally just start making the game again from scratch, like from the code level, because like trying to like edit all the individual lines and scripting and stuff on sounds like it'd be more work than just starting over if you're rewriting the script.
Yeah, completely.
When you look at Orlando, you're so calm and cheery.
Is that? It's feel like most of our conversations with Orlando have been about pretty serious subjects so far.
I shook my head, still confused. If anything, it made me wonder how I looked at Roswell.
It could be something that you could have just elaborated on. Just a thought.
Putting my hate for Tyson aside, I don't understand why you look at him so. That's the sort of look I want to earn someday.
Well, I just not really into you that way. I'm sorry. It's just you got this whole yeetable personality and face and expressions and clothes choice. I chuckled, nervous. The smile on my face crept there long before I was conscious of it. I think it's kind of like how you saw me as an older brother.
What?
Yeah, like, how to put it? As I got older and understood more about what it means to do the right thing, I stood up for him once. Since then, I don't know, he looked out for me, and it felt like I had an older brother. I smiled, thinking back fondly. It was nice, having someone else just around. Sure, it probably would have come across as him just taking advantage, but he did stuff too. Him taking advantage, but he did stuff. What?
You skirt around what exactly? He's done a lot, you know.
Oh, that's
We've literally
rich.
elaborated multiple times, by the way.
That is rich coming from Roswell, who constantly just refers in vague terms to that. I know. It was my turn to sigh out, and my ears drooped slightly, ashamed. Maybe it wasn't the best of things, but his heart was in the right place. Or it was just embarrassing stuff. Like, he ditched school when I was sick just to keep me company, or he managed to get test answers for something I was freaking out over. Maybe he stole them. He never said. How else would he get the answers to a test before you take... But even outside of school, he'd check in and make sure I was okay. He'd take me places on the weekend and show me stuff that he thought was cool. To be honest, he never really asked for anything. He called the shots, but made sure I was cool with it in some way beforehand.
That doesn't sound like the bully I remember.
Because he's not
I like how
anymore.
this is literally the third time in 2 scenes with Roswell where we have explained our reasons for liking Tyson, and he keeps insisting that we don't have reasons for liking Tyson.
Like I said before, he's like family now. I chuckled, nervous. I wasn't sure how to really put it without sounding corny. You know, I care.
I see.
What I think I'm getting at is that it's just time. Him being around made that happen. He's been good. It's the same with Orlando, right? He and I have hung out so often over the years. He's just been a consistent presence in my life.
And Dean?
Well, Dean's handsome?
Oh, so that's how it is.
Wait, no, what I mean is, I guess it's part that, but I'm still trying to figure out what the rules and expectations of how to date someone. It's like, I like his confidence, at least, and Orlando seems to like pushing me towards him.
I just don't understand the will they, won't they that this is trying to set up with Dean and Dave. I have never played or read a story where they're trying to force a meet cute so hard, where the characters describe each other a certain way but then do not act that way towards each other. Like it doesn't seem like a setup.
Yeah.
It just seems like these characters were like written in scenes by one author, and then the author that writes the scenes that they're not in where they're talking about each other is a completely different person with a completely different understanding of how they interact. It's very weird.
It is odd that like Dean, they keep referring to some kind of spark between Dave and Dean, but they just kind of say it over and over again, but it's not incorporated into the scenes with them very much, in particular because we're not in his route. And so it just feels nonsensical outside of that context, where like I assume that you can be very involved in Dave at this point, but we're just hanging out with Orlando and discussing we're just hanging out with Sal and discussing his Orlando problems most of this route. Like we like, if anyone, we're spending the most time with Tyson compared to Dean. Dean is off in Greenhouse Land getting knocked out occasionally. Like he's been one of the least featured characters, and Dave never thinks about him because we know what he thinks about, and it's never Dean. He just doesn't think about Dean at all.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just very weird. It's a weird thing. I just feel like if we're supposed to be in love with Dean and he's supposed to be such a centerpiece of this relationship, it shouldn't be a route to spend time with him. It should just be, the fact that we've had more hard-coded scenes with Roswell than with Dean is very weird. Anyway.
I do admit, you being a love-struck hyena never gets old, with how flustered you can get sometimes.
I chuckled, nervous, happy, and embarrassed all the same time.
What about Sal? And Hoss?
Who's Haas? What do you mean? Like how I look at them, or?
Right. Sal's sort of the same as Dean, I mean. A look I can't quite place. And Hoss? Well, he is hard to place too. It's a positive look, I think. Different, but similar to the one you give me, maybe?
He is. I don't like the idea that he's obsessively tracking how her face looks at every person in the entire friend group, and like has a internal like diary that's highly detailed where he's carefully tracking that kind of like, that's just this is weird. This conversation would weird me out. Haas gives me odd vibes sometimes, almost like he's
Like?
not completely honest. Not in a bad way, it's just weird.
I think I understand that. He's thrown me for a loop a few times. I like him, though.
Oh, you like him, do you?
Not like that. Well, I hadn't really considered it that way, at least.
I think I like Haas, but just... I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something.
Us too.
I don't think it's anything bad either, but...
Why don't you ask him?
Ask him what, though?
Maybe he might know about that secret room you're looking for. You never know.
That... I gave Roswell a look, frowning. Have you been here before, Roswell?
What? In this room? It's a conservatory. You can read here.
It's like a greenhouse for people. No, I mean, the mansion itself.
Can't say I have. If I had, I'd have told you about it before, easily. Not just that, but I'd be able to give you more info on the mansion itself, too.
Huh.
Like I told you, my parents organized this for me. All I said is that I wanted to go out with a bang with my friends and asked if they had any ideas.
Go out with a bang.
Yeah, and then they put a gun in the house.
Oh no! No!
And look at the picture frame on the desk in the back right corner, by the way.
Yeah, there's little people there.
There's little people in there.
There's little humans.
There's one on the other one, too. It looks like a wedding photo in the circular
there's
one.
two different framed photos, yeah. Yeah. Go out with a bang and they put a gun in the house. No. Yeah, just... Was it the, what's the Hazel Grace Foundation called? Like, this star won't go out, and he's wearing a star.
Oh. That's... I didn't even think about that, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone... I think people keep thinking, Steven Universe? Is that what this is? And they just... Mansion?
Mansion.
Sandwiches?
It wouldn't surprise me if some wealthy client owed one of my parents a favor, or there was something else in play like that.
I don't know.
Look, everyone has their secrets, Dave. Everyone.
Mine is leukemia.
For me, I like the ghosts of my past and the skeletons in my closet to stay right where they belong. Out of sight, out of mind.
What are the skeletons in your closet?
That's very unsettling.
You're 18. What the fuck? Isn't Tyson
They
a
aren't
skeleton in your closet that you won't fucking shut up about?
Yeah. I guess that's true, huh?
Yeah, isn't that what that means?
Yeah.
They aren't important to anyone but me, anyway. But as far as your mission to find the hidden rooms, I reckon Haas might be the one to ask.
He had an acting gig here? But why Haas?
Well, it's probably a bit presumptuous, but he's always been pretty... How do I want to say it? Yeah?
Conscious of his appearance, over the top. Gay little meow meow.
I was going to go with genre savvy, but I suppose those aren't wrong either. If there was a hidden room or a secret passage, Haas would probably know where to look.
You're probably right.
He's played a lot of Clue and knows exactly which rooms have the secret passages in them.
Wish I could be more helpful, but unless you're trying to commune with or otherwise banish a ghost, I'm tapped.
It'd be worth asking. Thanks, Roswell.
No, thank you for checking in on me. I'll try and get better. I feel like I should go talk with Tyson, maybe. I just need to figure out the best way to do it.
Checking in on people is almost the only thing we do. Collectively, everyone just constantly asks how everyone's doing, where they were, and what they're going to do next. Like they're trying to set up alibis. If I can help with that, let me know. He's well, I get it. I do.
So, see you at dinner?
Yep. I'll let you know if I come up with anything with the search.
See you later. Good luck.
I waved to Roswell and left him to his book. I still felt uneasy about a few things, but there wasn't anything I could do about them right now. Just had to stay focused on finding Oz. That's what kept me going. Find Oz, ask questions, put myself at ease what was happening to me. Right now, my only lead was to ask Haas. I could ask any of the others, but a suggestion of who to start with was better than picking at random. Haas? I peeked into his room, covering my eyes just in the off chance he was indecent. That's why you knock, Dave. Dave, you don't... It's bizarre behavior. You don't just like walk into someone's room but cover your eyes like, oh no, are you naked? Like you knock and you're like, hey, can I come in? That's how you avoid exactly that scenario.
What are you doing?
Are you decent?
Nope. Stark naked, Dave.
Thank God. Oh,
I'm just messing with you, Dave. Come on.
I've been wearing the same shirt for 4 days. Everyone else has too, but the fact that I changed calls attention to it. Ironically, this ramen shirt's beginning to develop a broth. I shuffled into his I shuffled into his room and closed the door behind me, eyeing Haas carefully.
So, what brings you here, Dave?
So, this is probably going to be a strange question.
No? What's up?
You've been here before, right? I stared at Haas, trying to read his expression, but it was hard to tell exactly what he thought of that.
To the mansion?
Well, yeah.
Now, why would you be asking something like that?
That's not a no. Benson said one of us had been here. Roswell said to ask Haas, given he was likely to know if there were hidden rooms. And I realized he was avoiding the question. Haas, have you or haven't you?
Maybe.
My eyes narrowed on him before. By some fluke, I had an epiphany. The library.
What about the library?
The library. When you first got here, you said there was a library that covered multiple floors. How did you know about that?
What? You haven't been there yet?
Haas, I have no idea where it is. Can you show me?
Well, yeah, I guess I could. You've been there before, so.
No, I haven't.
With the suit of armor, you've been there.
Yeah, and that's not the library. Benson said one of us had been there before. You seem to know of this room I can't find that I'm trying to, so...
Alright, you got me. Yeah, I know where it is. Good for me to show you now?
Nah, I feel like putting it off and agreeing to meet tomorrow at 5 p.m. so that one of us can be murdered right before we do it.
Oh no, shit, I need to go ask Benson to make us dinner.
Somebody should have done that earlier when they saw him. I remember. I'm ready, but why would you lie about that?
When we get there, I'll fill you in. Promise.
I'm also an android. Everyone's androids.
Come on.
Ironically, the only person that isn't an android here is failing the Turing test. I followed Haas out of his room and let him lead me to the conservatory. You can read here. I look around. There's no way this is the library. And Haas seemed to be aware that I wasn't buying it.
So, the library.
It's a metaphor. The library. This isn't it.
Nope, but we get there through here.
What do you mean?
All right, well, consider it this way. We're in a reading room, right?
Right. So, books.
Exactly.
This is not inherently a connection you could just make. I guess Roswell left in the last 30 seconds.
We're gonna learn that it's been 3 hours.
Haas wandered over to a bookcase against one of the walls, leaning against the wall beside it as he continued. I guess there's bookcases in some direction.
And what better source for books than
a library?
A library.
Nodding in confirmation, Haas pulled the 2 books on the shelf forward, and something clicked. I watched in awe as Haas gently slid the bookshelf aside, revealing a corridor behind. It was dark, my eyes straining forward to make out anything further down. Despite not being complete darkness, it may as well have been. So this was sort of set up in that he spent a lot of time in the conservatory, being like, whoa, a conservatory. Why is it so dark down there?
Lights don't work, but come on, I'll show you the library.
Haas turned the light on his phone on, stepping into the corridor. With one last look at the conservatory, I followed.
You doing alright? Stay close. Don't want you tripping over anything.
We're acknowledging phones. Right, so they do have cell phones. It is like modern-ish. I was like second-guessing myself about that a few times. I shuffled closer and bumped directly into Haas, who had stopped suddenly. He reached back, feeling down my arm until he took hold of my hand before walking forward, holding his phone in front of him. The corridor must have been long, because we were walking for a bit before we stopped. Why did we stop?
We're here. Ready?
I nodded in the darkness. Who knows if Haas could actually see me or not, but he proceeded forward anyway. Looks like a... Who is it? Like a Bosch painting or something? Who's that guy that draws the giant prisons? Shit. Damn it. Illusory has a print. The room filled out before us. Bookshelves filled to the brim in some cases and left completely bare in others. A lot of which I could only make out as Haas scanned the room with his phone.
Ta-da! The library.
This place is monstrously huge. Huh. I stepped forward.
Here's the thing. Sorry. Hold on. Roll back for 2 seconds. You don't actually roll back the text. I just mean like, let's go back to the room we were just in.
We're processing the fact that we got here somehow from the conservatory on the 2nd floor.
Yes. Other thing about this. Conservatory is a big room with a bunch of glass windows. So if there is a fancy multi-floor library touching the conservatory, we should be able to see physically on the outside of the building the dimensions of whatever the conservatory is touching up against.
Yeah, but it's a big long corridor apparently, so I guess we must have walked to the other side of the mansion. But this place is still like
sure
comically huge to the point where Dave should have been able to figure out the where in the floor plan there's just a
that's what I'm saying.
2-floor library that he can't get into.
Is that
at some point you just look around the outside of the entire mansion and notice that there's an entire like wall you can't get to. Like you've never seen those windows from the inside.
And if this room is somehow hidden in the center of the mansion, one would notice that you are only walking in hallways around a big center space that you cannot get to.
Yeah, no, there's the space is wild. There's
a House of Leaves house.
Yes, exactly. It's exactly that. It's the fucking House of Leaves hallway. It breaks all surrounding understanding of how the place can even functionally work, and that's how this place is here. This place actually rearranges itself, and we're not going to be able to find our way back if we're not careful.
Yeah.
I stepped forward, looking around some more. We were standing on the higher of 2 levels, with a rail stopping me from just falling down to the floor below. It's dark here too, but why? There's no windows either.
Nope. It's, well, a private library for sure.
But how is this here? How deep are we?
Still on the same level as the conservatory. Go down there and you'll be on the same level as the bedrooms.
Haas and I wandered forward carefully as my eyes tried to adjust to the dark.
Kinda cool, huh?
But there's no lights?
Only candles.
The most book-friendly way of lighting things.
See? Down there.
Haas pointed down to the lower level, where a large desk sat with a few candles set up, unlit. The only way I could make them out in the dark was because they were bone white against the dark wood. Okay, so the conservatory is the only way in here?
Far as I know.
Huh. Alright.
So why'd you want to come here?
Oh, I was just looking for it. That's not an answer.
But why, though? Not all that much here. Only, well...
Oh, it's a pretty fucking cool room. I'd want to see it. Look at it.
We just have an extra-dimensional multi-floor library in the center of this mansion.
Yeah, the side of the
Being
fucking
curious
Notre
about
Dame.
this room... Yeah, being curious about this room is not weird.
No. I started to lead the way, descending a staircase and guiding me over to one of the walls. My heart sank as I realized what I was looking at. Wait. Before us looked a familiar looking door, right down to the keypad sitting next to it. There's another one?
Sure looks like it.
Is this why he's been having the dream separately from us? He's using this
Possibly.
other one? This wasn't what I was expecting to find here.
What were you looking to find here? Unless there's a book, there's nothing here, right?
Yeah, you're right. But how did you find this room? How did you know about the books? Have you been here before?
We've already established this. Okay, fine. This mansion, yeah, I've been here before. I know it very well. After all, this is where I was supposed to make my first big break as an actor.
Wait, really?
Yeah, didn't realize it until we pulled up, but this is the same place. Confirmed it when I tried the bookcase.
Who else knows about this? You having been here before, I mean.
Honestly, it'd be hard to say. Benson would know if only because he was around when we were setting up.
What about the owner?
The owner of the mansion? I don't know, never met him.
You know his name at least?
Nope, he was scarce when we were setting up the hidden microphones and cameras for stuff. Always just assumed he was off somewhere else, given we had free reign to wander around.
Damn. Okay.
So, happy?
I guess so. We stood in silence for a few moments before my gaze wandered over to the vault-like door on the wall.
What are you gonna do? Keep this secret?
I don't know why you were keeping it a secret still, especially after, well...
About Benson?
Well, yeah.
To be honest, it's a few different things. Left a lot of regrets here. Being here again both makes me pumped up as if I was getting another shot, but also sad that it never got to eventuate. So places like this, they're private, at least for now. Places that only I, and I guess now you, can enjoy. Secrets, you know?
I nodded slowly, understanding somewhat. I'm sorry, Haas. At least I feel like I should be. I don't know. I mean, you know I didn't know. It's just, I chuckled quietly, pulling my gaze to the floor. I leaned back on the desk, sighing out. At least I was ready for tonight, it seemed.
Happy?
I think so.
Good.
Now you die.
Good.
Haas, are you okay? There were a few moments of silence before he sighed out. They're doing a lot of sighing out today, scratching himself through his mane.
Just secrets, this whole thing. Can I share another one with you?
Oh, okay.
It's part of the reason why I moved out here. Admittedly, I'm bisexual. I was gonna joke that he was gonna come out as gay, and it's like, we know.
Yeah, just out of, yeah, I'm like, no, I'm not surprised. But that's that's a weird sentence, right?
Yeah, it's very weird.
Admittedly, I'm bisexual, right? Like, what?
I'm bisexual, right?
Oh, you like girls too? I just like guys. It's coming out as bi from gay. It's already just accepted that he's gay. That's not what he's coming out as.
It's a homonormative culture.
Yes. Focus, Dave.
Focus, Dave.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Anyway. It's the liking guys part that's the problem. Parents are constantly asking me if I have a girlfriend. Mom wants kids, but guys are just a little easier to get along with. Okay.
Well, I don't know what it's like for lions, but hyena girls are scary. We're going canonically down hyena gender roles. Are we going to talk about pseudo penises?
Yeah.
And I just prefer, well, I pointed down, hoping Haas would get the picture.
It's not about that, Dave. It's just family stuff and expectations.
I think he was coming out as gay-ish. Like, the gay part, like the men part, but it was framed so strangely, and Dean seemed so unsurprised. What? To have a family? Dad said that adopting was always an option. A family is a family no matter what.
Oh, Dave, if only. There's certain views about what a family should be that makes it hard. Me liking guys isn't setting a good example for my siblings, for instance.
I shook a little, confused. But that doesn't make any sense. What does that matter? Love is love, right?
Saying this as a gay man that lives in the modern universe and has played visual novels that depict homophobia, the approach this game has to gay issues is hard for me to understand, because on one hand, I really like visual novels that like depict the world as a messy and difficult place for gay people, because that's our reality. But like, it is also
fun to just have a visual novel that just is gay by default, and it's never acknowledged.
Yes, exactly. But it's strange because it feels like this is trying to have its cake and eat it too, where it's like, what do you mean? I've never even fathomed the concept of homophobia, while also setting up that the world has homophobia in it, which is like
just lions are homophobic.
Yeah, just lions. It's a species thing, which is like
okay. Oh, that's why no one can trust Haas, because he's always lying. I didn't think this kind of person existed, but they do, in that making the Lego She video and having so many people respond to it led to a particular subsection of people that's very strange, which are queer people that have no concept for like homophobia and transphobia, because they grew up in such a good context that it seemingly just never has impacted them, and so they just don't think about it. And that is simultaneously the goal but also deeply frustrating and irritating to hear, usually because they're often like very weirdly dismissive of the concept of homophobia, like you're just being whiny or something. And it's like, okay, I'm glad things worked out for you somehow, where you don't know what I'm talking about somehow, but what the fuck?
Yeah. Very interesting. Haas is weird. It'd be nice if that was the case, but I don't know.
Haas sighed out again. I'm not used to the side coming with an extra word every time. And so the frequency at which it's coming out is throwing me a little bit. Haas sighed out and came to stand next to me, leaning on the desk.
Just the library, when I just told you. Can you keep it a secret for me? Just for a little while. Please?
Okay.
Only for a little while. We'll show the others soon. And just, you know.
Just gotta set up the summoning circle. If you don't, I will. Especially because... I pointed to the door he showed me, looking to Haas to see him nod.
And that's fair. If another thing happens like last night, we'll show everyone right away, yeah?
I think that'd be best. Otherwise, what, a couple days? Tomorrow?
Couple days. Give me a chance to get the courage together.
Okay.
What? What?
Yeah, I have no idea what he's talking about. Unless he's like unnecessarily linking these two ideas for no reason, because his bisexuality and this place are not related.
Yeah, I can't really tell how those two stories relate to each other. For now, want to get out of here? It's dark, probably dustier than it needs to be. Unless there's something else you need from here.
No, I think I'm good. Haas moved to lead the way, making sure the light on his phone was on before making his way towards the stairs. I rushed to catch up to him, hesitating on my approach. I felt like I understood Haas a little better, maybe understanding why he'd kept this under wraps. Nodding to myself, I took the last few steps confidently, shooting Haas a friendly smile. All right, let's go. Up the stairs and back to the corridor, Haas guiding the way until we were back to the conservatory. There's so many books here, you could read them.